So, good morning. Let's start with the first webinar for this session, on this spring webinar session on COOPID project. My name is Íñigo Rodilla. I am project manager at Innovarum and project manager of COOPID project. In this first session, we will explore which is the role of primary producers in the bioeconomy and more specifically in our project, the COOPID project. Before to start with the main content of the presentation, I would like to give you an introduction, giving some background details from the bioeconomy and the role of the primary producers. Because in the past, when we started to talk about biomass transformation into new products, we talked mostly about industry. Most of the success stories we know, they are big industries, big corporations with big facilities, but we never heard about where the biomass come from the primary producers. Indeed, here from Innovarum, we worked in a study together with the bio-based joint undertaking program about in a study about the participation of the agricultural sector in this program. What we found is that from 2014 to 2017, only the 23% of the projects included primary producers as beneficiary of the projects. So as you can see in this bioeconomy or bio-based industries programs, just few primary producers have been involved. These differences could be a little bit tricky because the primary sector in the European Union is quite big. The European Union produces 1 billion tons of biomass per year. It's important to highlight that the 50% of the biomass comes from the agricultural crops and around the 27% of the biomass comes from the forestry industry. For sure, this depends on the countries, but it's a quite relevant sector. Indeed, the 18% of the bioeconomy turnover comes from agriculture. Once we commented this background, I would like to discuss about how the COOPID project was generated. After the results from this study and with information gathered during several conversations on the preparation of this study, together with other backgrounds that we have and opportunities that we detected, we found two main gaps between the EU bioeconomy and the role the primary producers were playing on this bioeconomy. The first one was the poor cooperation and the inadequate knowledge transfer between the different actors in the value chain. And especially two concepts. First, there was a lack of awareness, lack of communication, and the level of the know-how must be increased among the primary producers. And they also have some difficulties to initialize, to start up with new relations for new productions, for the new opportunities, just because they traditionally do not take part, they don't collaborate with other sectors than the own agriculture. The other one was the low awareness and the low practical knowledge among the stakeholders. For sure, there is a lot of information, but primary producers feel that they don't have time or they don't have the ready-to-use materials to start up some new opportunities on the bioeconomy. So it could be interesting, for example, when we talk about practical knowledge, we talked about the lesson learned, the own experience of the people who has experiences. So once we described the gaps found between the EU bioeconomy and the involvement of the primary producers, we generate this COOPID project as an answer to these gaps. So what we did is, for each of the challenges or each of the gaps that we found, we design a kind of solution. So for example, when we talk about inadequate knowledge transfer, we say, okay, so what we propose a farmer-to-farmer communication. So in their own language, considering both the vocabulary and the own local language, and ready-to-use materials, not very technical information, no long texts. So to go on-site to the facility, to have direct contact with the farmer, understand the technology, understand the barriers, to have a clear dialogue with the farmer. Then when we talk about difficulties for networking, we propose the creation and promotion of national clusters, what we call the COOPID bioeconomy clusters, which are groups of different agents for the bioeconomy, public research, industry, primary producers on the bioeconomy, and then the promotion of the communications among the different clusters. So not just to consider the information exchange at the national level, but to exchange also between projects, between countries, And last, when we talk about this low awareness, reduced interest as a challenge to be solved, we propose to have the discussion through success stories. So instead of talk just about information, available technologies, available feedstock, we would like to promote this communication through success stories. So real cases that have been implemented by primary producers and that in the end they have been success cases. So this is the initial idea, and what we find, so in the end, what we did in COOPID project is to select business models promoted by primary producers to be visited by primary producers that later on will take part on dissemination events, what we call workshops, also focused as an interesting event for primary producers. So in the end, we would like to design a methodology that put the primary producer in the middle, considering their needs, their opportunities, their challenges, everything. But this is something that we will discuss about in the next presentation with my colleague Africa, that she will talk to you about these innovative techniques that we use to disseminate the information. If you wanted to know more about who they are, these primary producers, you have more information both in our website and in the interactive platform linked to the project, the interactive platform of COOPID project. That was all from my side. I give the floor to Africa, and I will see you at the end of the session for another presentation about success factors for the bioeconomy implementation. Thank you.